You know you can do the job, you know you're perfectly qualified, and you come out and then your friends say, how'd it go? And you say, oh, I stuffed it up. Stuffed up the interview. You see, there is a view that a lot of interviews, perhaps most job interviews, are in fact useless. There's an intimidating panel of executives, there's, difficult and abstract questions. I met a friend of mine once where he went for a job and one of the questions he was asked was, how many travellers checks do you think there are in the world? Because you're not permitted to say, look, I have absolutely no idea, but I'm sure given half a day I could find out. Someone said if you were, for example, in the sporting world, and someone told you that there was a great and talented player out there, and you should go and have a look, and if the scout went along and saw the practice game that the player was in, but didn't think they were that good, would that be the only decision you would make? Surely not. Everyone would say, well, you can't judge a person just by that one experience. If you're looking at a potential player, one game's not enough. You have to look at a few, don't you? But of course, we all regard the performance of the 30-minute interview as being conclusive. A lot of studies have shown that the unstructured 30-minute interview may well be useless. Are interviews overrated, and are there better ways to determine job capability? Simon Cox joins us this morning. He's a principal at Horizon One. It's a recruiting firm here in Canberra, and he's had a look at this research as well. Morning, Simon.
Good morning, Philip. How are you?
I'm very well. This is by way of a 5-minute interview, you see. So
My performance better be good.
It's even shorter. But there's some truth in this, isn't it? That the 30-minute interview might not throw up the best candidate.
Look, I think the article that it's derived from is a slight bit of a beat up to get a bit of a headline, but there's some kernels of truth in the article, and I think at the end of the day, a 30-minute unstructured interview has been dead for a long time, and it's essential that an interview is a planned, well-structured process, and there's behavioural questions asked that really delve into someone's background, because past performance is the best predictor of future performance.
Well, that's right. That's always been one of the great truths. Just if you want to clue a person's future performance, look at their past performance. So in essence, really, all you should do if you're assessing candidates is to look at references then, isn't it?
Look, I think the more options you have for information, the more data you have, the more channels of information you have, the better decision you can make. So in today's age of social media, the internet, there's a vast amount of information out there that you can look at. But there's also technology and new information we can look at. So, for example, at Horizon One, we do behavioural interviews and behavioural profiles
What's
with
that mean?
everyone that we meet.
What's that mean?
So behavioural profile is essentially like a Myers-Briggs test, looking at workplace behavioural styles. You look at someone and you'll see if they're supportive or driven, whether they've got high attention to detail.
But there are plenty of people who are very critical of those things too and say that they're just a game, And then once you learn the rules of the game, anybody can do well in them, actually.
Yeah.
If you know how the Myers-Briggs things works, you know what answers to give.
They're a tool. They're one of the sources of information, and it helps make a well-rounded decision.
How many travellers checks do you think there are in the world?
Good question.
Well, see, you do get these questions, don't they, which are designed to see what a person's thinking style is like. In other words, how would they go about trying to answer that question?
I did have a client many years ago, and every interview he would ask every interviewee, what do they think of the Who?
Of the Who?
Yep. This is a leader of an organisation. What do they think of the Who? And some of the young Gen Y people used to fall off their chair and have no idea what.
Have no idea. About. Exactly. But it's an example of a question which doesn't actually elicit much or much useful information.
That's right. Interviewing is a skill, and it's something that needs to be practiced.
Is a good interview an interview when you ask all the candidates exactly the same question?
I think a structured interview is important, but I think, for example, public service interviews are a little bit too structured. They're very set questions. I believe an interview should be tailored to an individual and looking for the weaknesses in their CV and their experience.
Yes, but when you do that, I mean, it's a bit of a game, though, isn't it? I mean, if a person produces a CV, they think, well, I know what questions I'm going to get asked on it because people will say, well, hang on, why did you leave the last job? What do you think your strengths are? What do you think your weaknesses are? And I mean, it's a bit of a game, isn't it? You don't necessarily know whether the person's good at the game or good at the job.
You'd be surprised. Very few people are good at being interviewed, naturally. But people can prepare and they can get better in interviews, but a really good interviewer should be able to drill down and keep asking why until they understand someone's behaviour.
Yeah. All right. Is it okay to say I don't know?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think honesty is the way to go, and it's very much appreciated in an interview.
Other tips for conducting a good interview? What would you say?
I think preparation is the key. So really understanding the core competencies required in the role in depth, having prepared. If it's a group interview, sit down with your fellow interviewers, have a set plan of attack, stick to it, and drill down. Keep asking why until you truly understand.
Okay. All right, Simon, good to talk. Thank you.
Great.
Simon Cox.
Thanks
with Horizon One, a recruiting firm here in Canberra. What are your experiences too with interviews? We've all done terrible ones. Do you think they're useless? Do you think you often don't end up with the best person for the job anyway? Text 0467 922 666. Twitter and Facebook at 666 Canberra. Traffic news, by the way. Hi.